when Samuel Atachian actually, addressed us, he talked about one thing. He talked about how government had fulfilled a pledge to provide 200 million for the desilting of drains across the country. Now, this is a GNA story, and we're told that, the release of funds, Atachian said, had paved way for the commencement of Ghana's desilting program nationwide as the rains set in this year.
So they paved the way, but they never actually...
Oh, he said that money. See, and that money is actually a promise that was made. And even before that, if you go to 2018 during the State of the Nation address, the president talks about something. And I'm going to quote also. I like attribution a lot. Government is working with various private sector authorities to tackle this major challenge with strategies that are intended to affect change in attitudes towards waste and filth as we improve dramatically our methods of waste management. This will be complemented by the strict enforcement of sanitation rules and regulations. Urgent attention will be given to clearing of rubbish all around the country, and apart from the systematic efforts being made to resolve the legacy of inherited debts in the sector, government will spend an amount of 200 million cedis to address the issue of sanitation. This was in 2018. President Akufo-Addo speaking. So if you come to 2020, Samuel Atachian, in trumpeting the achievements of the government, said part of the reason why the problems we've had with flooding in the past have not been seen in recent times was because the government was actually spending so much money on, drainage systems in the country. The fact that the government was desilting and doing a lot. And could you finally, before you get onto the phone lines, because Samuel Atachian, still in 2018, in April, 2 years ago, he said government was going to deal with flooding permanently. And he was relying on a facility from the World Bank, which we've talked about, in about $200 million to deal with this situation. After all these things that I've talked about, you ask yourself, why have we not solved it?
I'm more interested in, are we even capable? Because every single thing you said was a solution, was it not?
Yes, it was supposed to be a solution.
But none of the solutions were carried out, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, the desilting we're told has been done, but the evidence after the rains has exposed the kind of desilting we did.
So we weren't able to solve these problems.
We haven't been able to solve.
The question is, are we capable? By the way, this is the same Accra that the president Akufo-Addo said by the end of his term would be the cleanest city in Africa. And of course, a lot of this flooding is caused by filth, as we saw yesterday in Odona. Okay, Nana Cranting is a development economist. She joins us now. Nana is a friend of the show, by the way, a dear friend of the show, but it's been so long since we had her. Nana, good morning.
Good morning, Kojo. How are you?
We are very well. It's good to hear you once again on the Super Morning Show. Nana, we're concerned because we're starting to struggle to find evidence that as a nation we are capable of solving this constant flooding problem. Should we stop looking for that evidence?
Well, first of all, let me say good morning to everybody listening. I don't think we are incapable of solving the problem.
Nana, if I may just ask you to lower the radio, so that...
Bring that right away.
Thank you so much. Yep, so you can hear us on the phone.
I don't think we are incapable of it. However, there are systemic issues that we have to deal with before we try to tackle it. Okay, first of all, Accra has been growing vertically and horizontally without plans.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, and the drainage system that was designed for this country dates back to the 50s. Nobody has, or at least our planning system has not made an effort, comprehensive effort to develop on the drainage system that was established before most of us were born. All right. So with that, what we have is a system that is serving a population that has overgrown its use. So that's number one. I hear you talking about desilting. For as long as you desilt and people dump, desilting must become a recurrent activity.
Yeah.
It cannot be done one time. So everybody who has said they are doing desalting must have been doing desalting. But as soon as they desalt, somebody goes to dump. So government can do its best. I mean, I have heard of desalting since. I mean, everybody's trying to desalt the gutters. But as soon as the trucks leave, people go and put things back. And you can't, for as long as we are an indisciplined group, we can't deal with this. The only solution, or one of the solutions, I shouldn't say the only solution, is to go to covered drains and storm drains. But we are a country which starts something and we don't finish. Look at the Nima storm drain, all right? The one that goes from the Kanda Highway. Is it the Kanda Highway?
Yeah.
It was started beautifully. We all thought, okay, once this is covered, at least this area would have some respite from floods. Halfway, it stopped. So whenever you're driving there, you see this gaping the drain, and people are using. I mean, I don't want to use the language. I mean, people are using it for all sorts of things just because it's not covered. So that's number two. Number three, decentralization has lost its value. Okay, if decentralized systems or authorities do not maintain their power to manage their assemblies or authorities, then, you know, no matter what you do, the central government system can do policies, they can do major activities, but they have to be supported by the decentralized systems. Every assembly prides itself of, you know, people like to be called assemblymen, assembly whatever. They don't do anything. They are all depending on the common fund instead of generating revenue to keep them going. So people who live in their assemblies do what they want. I mean, I live in an area, it's supposed to be a high middle income, whatever you call them. There is, over the past year or so, an upsurge of slum emerging. You know, like you have people putting kiosks anywhere, anyhowly, as some Ghanaians will say, and nobody's doing anything about it. I actually went to the district assembly and told them, listen, you are allowing this to happen, and then later on, when you try to remove them, they'll tell you pay us compensation. Somebody had the guts to tell me that in any area there is a Zongo.
Hey, so that is the plan of Accra.
So you see,
is that it? Is that what they were officially communicating? That
well, I don't think it's official. It's just somebody who was vented. But the issue is that once you have this attitude, it's difficult for the assembly or even people who are working for them to feel committed to keeping the area clean. So it is not just the drainage, but it is a lot of things that go together. I heard Minister Atachia wanting to do storm drains, covered drains. Look, that will solve a lot of the problem. But the question is, how do you do it? How do you break down houses on drains right now? What is the cost? There are people who have built on drains. And how are you going to handle that? Because, you know, you have to do things with a human face. The political expediency is quite an economic thing now. So you cannot just go and break people's houses because they built on drains. But they have built on drains.
So is there really a choice in the matter? I see this as a legal situation here. If you've built on a drain, you've done something illegal. So where does politics even come in? At what point does a political expediency trump a legal provision?
Well, you see, take the Ministry of Works and Housing and its minister. If they can do all the drawings, they try to go into it, and then, you know, somebody will say, hey, because, we are going to an election year, you got to be careful. That's what I talk about. I'm not talking about politics as in your party colors. I'm talking about the human factor. You've got to be careful how you handle people. And I've always told you, my only party is the Presbyterian Church. Okay, the issue of managing people's emotions can always stop you from doing what you have to do. They've gone and built on the drains. You have to break the houses down. But then you also then have immediately some chiefs coming and talking to you. You have the district chief executive getting up early in the morning, and people are sitting in front of his house or her house, telling her why they, their grandchildren and their children, and so they have to immediately recoil. They have to retrace their steps. So I felt sorry when I heard Minister Thatcher, being grilled at your end. What can he do? What can he do when you have a population who will do what they want to do?
Well, he did promise to do certain things, and he didn't say to us, "Oh, I will be unable to do these things because as a politician, I must have a human face, and so I can't solve the problem." He didn't say that. You know
what? I cannot say I'm sure, but I think if you go to his office now, you would see drawings. You would see efforts being made to solve the problem, right? And I cannot vouch for some of these things because now I don't move around plenty like I used to do. But the thing is that you must have seen some dissolving going on.
Yes.
So the dissolving has taken place. But Pickle Odona, is that the place you're talking about?
That's right.
That is perennial. Look, somebody got drowned yesterday. You go and clean it today. They'll put up the sharks again. So the next rain will wash them away. Last night, when the first thing I started praying about, oh my God, what's happening to all the people sleeping in the streets? So, I don't think you can hold that. I have to be careful how I mention this. Minister attacking, right? Honorable attacking, right? You cannot hold him accountable. Neither can you hold the former minister accountable. They have intentions. They are trying their best. If the minister said, "Well, we tried to sign a contract and it didn't work," nobody can solve the drainage program problem in Accra with $10. It's a huge investment. It takes somebody with guts to bite the bullet, and like I said, it will not just be building of drains; it will be breaking down structures. You may have to reconfigure the infrastructure of Accra, especially around the valley belt.
So, Nana, I think I understand the point you're making, that this is a much bigger undertaking than anyone thought. But to say that we can't hold them accountable, I know there are many who will disagree with you on that, because they didn't come to us and say what you are saying. They didn't come to us and say, this problem is big, we can't solve it. What they said was, we will solve it. Vote for us and we will solve it. That's what every government has said, including the current one. So if they say this and then they come along and don't solve it, the concept of accountability is that we hold people to say what they said they would do. And if their excuse to us is that, oh, we can't do it because we want votes, so we must be nice, surely that's not acceptable.
I don't think I want to go along that line that we can't do it. We want votes, so we must be nice. Listen, some things take 5 days to do. Other things take 1 year, all right? Trying to reconfigure the drainage infrastructure in Accra is not going to be done in anybody's political term.
But can we start?
We can start. You know what? That's what I mentioned, the Nima drain. I don't know whether you know what I'm talking about.
I know the drain you're talking about.
Right.
There's another one in Odona, which has been abandoned. They started and they abandoned.
And the material for it is lying there. People are beginning to use it for their private. So now when you're passing through Nima, people are building right next to the edge of that covered drain. Is that the best? So, the minister or the government in power can say, we will do it. They have intentions. 4 years, even if you take, no matter what, 4 years cannot replace the drainage infrastructure in Accra as it is now.
So what do we say, Nana, to the people who live in Odona, to George, who I met yesterday, whose several children were moved upstairs as they watched their bedrooms flood with water, the water that rose to levels higher than their height? What do I say to them?
Please tell them. Please, I wish I had something nicer to say, but maybe the first step is relocation. For as long as we are all moving into that little space, that small space, all right, and human lives will generate filth, we will continue. That's why it's been. Do you realize that it's been centered around Odona?
Yes, that's where all the water ends up.
All these, because that's where it gets choked. It doesn't move beyond Odona to the lagoon. That's where the problem starts. Is it Fadama?
Yes.
There's supposed to be a drain that should take you to the lagoon, to empty the water from Accra.
Mm-hmm.
There are structures of them. There are structures, and there are structures, institutional structures on the marshlands. So when the water gets to Odona and Circle, the force which is coming should be the same force it should use to go to the sea.
Yeah.
And the force is stopped. But and water, when it is moving, cannot be stopped. For as long as people continue converging in that area and generating garbage, please, it's going to be very difficult. Even when anybody wants to reconfigure the infrastructure, they will have to move these people. Will they be ready to move?
That's the question. And Nana, I want to thank you for laying the situation out as clearly as you have. I think it means now that we can go forward and start addressing that central question of, are we incapable of solving the flooding situation? It's clearly a big problem, but are we incapable of solving it? Where to begin? Call us 0302-216-541, 0244-340-437. We want to hear your voice on the show. You just heard Nana Cranting. She's a development economist, saying that this thing is not a one-day job.
Well, Kojo, Nana makes very interesting points, but the good thing about us as a country is that we have anticipated our problems and so put in place measures to address our problems. I'll share some with you. After you're done with our listeners.
Yeah, let's take one call now from Claude in Tema. Claude, good morning.
Yeah, Kojo, good morning.
Talk to me, my brother.
Yes, I think the problem with the flooding, the talk is becoming too much. I think anybody who calls in should offer solution. One, when there are heavy rains over 7 hours, all over the world, we see on the telly, there will be floods. And sometimes it covers buildings. So that's force majeure. There's nothing you can do about it. But for the Accra floods, now when you go to Kolena or the Kole Lagoon, it's silted. When you go to Agbogloshi, there are 3 tributaries of the Odo, where you have the timber market, where the scrap dealers are, and behind ICGC Orthodox Church. Now, because of politics, they have allowed people to come and inhabit those places, and they are dumping scrap into the water. So when you default Odo and the water gets to that area, how can the water pass through? When you go to timber markets, they are dumping sawdust in that tributary that ends up in the Kole Lagoon. So the solution is not with the Odo. The solution is with Agbogboshi, clearing the scrap dealers from that drain where it leads to the sea behind Orthodox Church. Now they are even doing slaughtering cows and rearing cattle there, dumping cow dung and things in the water. So if we do not deal with those things, I don't think the solution.
Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing. Well, let's go to Teshinungwa Estates. Here's Papa and Sam. Papa, good morning.
Good morning.
I'd rather be in a dry, non-flooding city.
Yeah, yesterday the rain that fell. the whole area of Teshinungwa Estate, BT-MAF, was flooded to my waist level.
Wow.
Let me give you the whole thing. Someone has come to build a restaurant on the waterway. And is this same Legma who gave the person the permit to build it? And whenever it rains, you see, this storm drain collects its water from the mountains. So just imagine when it rains from Kofodia, Manfin, Okropon, down to Medina Adenta, to easily go to Teshinura, into the rain, into the sea, around the life area. I want you this week or by Friday, come to Teshinura area, busy month, come and look at things yourself. Now the building is there, and they are expecting Honorable Atachia to pay compensation to them for them to break the building down. Meanwhile, there was someone who gave them the permit to build there. But as usual, whenever it rains, it's not easy. Because it wasn't like that. And all these things, I blame State Housing. Because that place was buffer zone. When it rains, it goes there. Now come and see. Even as I was speaking to you, an honorable person in this government has even bought a land around the storm drain.
Well, please don't mention any names if we can't substantiate the allegation. But I know that what you're describing does happen. Thanks for sharing. Augustine is in Shongman. Good morning, Augustine.
Good morning, Mr. Mollyman. How are you doing?
I'm very well. Good to hear from you, Augustine. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, my brother. This perennial issue with Accra, I think the media has to put in more effort to educate the people. Just recently, the old Fadama issue that got up, and the people were trying to break up the edges to allow the earth moving equipment to dissect the odor. You hear the reportage from the media. They are doing that. The pregnant women that don't have a place to sleep, they are doing that. They are evicting the people. They are doing this. How would the authority have the courage to fight the canker when the media is giving all this reportage about them? Let's look at the pioneer since when the former president Wallace was in the seat. This problem has been persistent with us in Accra. And as I'm talking to you, anytime the authorities take a move, there's a media reportage, there's a human right, there's this right, there's this right. Then we come back again and say, hey, they are not doing anything. How can we fight it when this thing has how much money that has sunk into this problem in Ghana since the inception of this country in Accra here? How much money has been sunk into that project, and that project has not come into fruition as that we are talking? The World Bank, the government of Ghana, they have sunk in money, and the problem is a human cost. All is centered in Circle and other area and the old Fadama area. That is where the problem is centered.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that with us. Kofi Dia is our next stop. It's Kofi, our friend Kofi. How are you doing?
I'm doing well, Kojo.
Wonderful.
How are you doing?
We're managing, Kofi.
Kojo.
Yes, sir.
This our flooding problem is simple. Our attitude. Our attitude. What are we doing to get ourselves ready for the rain? We wait, and when the rain comes, then we start complaining. It's our attitude. The minister will not be able to do all that he needs to do to make sure that Accra is not flooded. We as citizens must also take it upon ourselves to know what we can do to avoid this. We wait for the rains to come before we start complaining. The minister
last year was talking blah 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 blah. We were going to do this. We were going to do this. But there are certain people at the town and county planning who are giving permit to people to build in waterways. And when the rain comes and there is a problem, then we start complaining. We need to change our attitude and look at this as our own, because the life that have been lost during this flooding yesterday, we are not going to get it back.
We are not. That's true. Moses is in Accra. Hello, Moses. Good morning.
Hello.
Hi, Moses. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning, Kojo. How are you doing?
You know, I'm okay. I wish that you had like one of those staffs to come and part the waters that keep flooding our city, Moses. Yes, sir.
Accra is a patriotic state, not because of anything, but the democracy we are practicing, we really don't understand it. But if we do, and we have policies, national policies in place, I don't think this flooding will be going on. You see, you call Fadama. Fadama, the real name is Fadamohe, a riverbed. That is one. Now the place you call Fanofa is not Fanofa, it's Fanofa, which is river of rivers. Now there have been plans for Accra longest time, but due to bad policies and these democracies and whatnot, when the military was in place, a champion turned Koforidua into something else. Those places used to be Zongos. I remember Kanomini shifted everybody out and built out structures and places. What is preventing us from doing what is right, even if it means slaughtering some people?
It's a big question. What is your answer? Call us. George has done so from Kumasi. George, good morning. Thanks for tuning in to Love FM.
Thank you, Kojo. I hope you are fine.
I'm very well, and it's great to hear your rather excited voice this morning.
Yeah, I'm just confirmed. I'm calling from Amlaga in Kumasi, to be precise.
Fantastic. George, talk to me.
Yeah. Kojo, now, last week or 2 weeks, the AMA boss lead the task force to go and demolish some buildings around. I don't know. I'm in Kumasi, so I forget if you can get. And they demolish people's house, and then they said they are building on waterways. After the rain, have you visited those areas?
You ask a good question, you know. It's not so long ago that demolition exercise took place.
Yes.
Yeah, we need to go back and see how things looked there after the rain.
Yes. The reason I'm asking this question is that the people are complaining and saying that this is not waterway. And secondly, those who give permits for building exercise, those to be hold responsible, because they know that this area is not good for building. But because they need money, they will take the money from you, and after that you are going to suffer. So please, those city engineers and city planners, they should have questions to be answered. Thank you very much, Kojo.
Thank you very much, George. Thanks so much for calling us. Oh, it's very cheerful, George from Kumasi. All right, Abokobi next. Yes, Isaac James. Good morning, Isaac.
Good morning, Kojo. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you, Isaac.
Thank God. Kojo, I've written to Winston, who said he lives in Abokobi. If he does, I want him to check if he has been passing through the Pantan Road, the river between Pantan Hospital and Micheleti. You see that they have blocked the river and they are building estates there. Unfortunately, it was Ghana police servicemen that came to guard the workers to block the river and start building the fence wall for the estate because people were against it. If these kind of things are going on in this country, how do you want flooding to stop? Most of our drains are choked with garbage from our homes. And we want the flood to stop. And we always wake up and blame the president and government after government. If we don't change our attitudes, and those that are supposed to enforce the law are backing the criminals to do mayhem in this country, we are not going to go anywhere. Thank you very much, Kojo.
Thank you, Isaac. Wow, heartfelt. Hey, Winston, your neighbor says there is a river forming at Pantine.
Yes, I'd have to go and check it out. You know, there's actually 2 routes, so I use the other one, but I'll go find that out.
Absolutely. All right. Well, there you go, Isaac. Mami is in Tema Community 8. Let's make this our last caller for now. Mami, good morning.
Good morning, Kojo.
Good to hear from you.
Yes, Kojo. I'm in a bad mood this morning.
Oh dear.
No Community 8, where they built the Community 8 shell.
Yeah.
Yes, they are the former Winners Chapel, Ghana. I think, like the man said, it is our attitude. This man who owns that building where they used to do that fellowship, Winners Ghana, hired people to fill the gutter in front of the building with sand. Kojo, with sand. We've gone to the TMA to go and report. The assemblyman had gone to go and report. And they came there, and up to now, nothing is done about it.
Oh, dear.
And this one is just working there freely. And I'm sure you just go and tip people, and then the problem will just lie. And the people living in the community will suffer. And when he plays, he will go into people's room. Already people have already built in the lanes that have been left so that when the rain rains, it just runs through. People have just built anyhow in Tema. Tema now is not a place where you say it was a developed area.
Planned city.
Yes, like a planned city. Yes, no. It's more like a slum now. Kojo, I beg you, if you can follow up on this thing for me, please. Because this thing will turn out to be something else. And now they tend to ask the government to come and help them do this and that.
Mami, please don't hang up. I want you to stay on the line so that Sammy can speak to you and get some details of this issue you're raising. I promise you, I will ask all the necessary questions and we will bring you answers, okay?
I'm ever ready to help.
Thank you, Mami. Please stay on the line and let's get that problem solved. Charlie, sometimes it doesn't make sense.
Yes, Kojo, you see, there are a lot of problems, but you see, I started by talking about the measures that we put in place. Now, look at this carefully, Kojo. I have with me the local government service, LI 1961, and I'm going to go to Regulation 7, Department of Physical Planning. But before I read the Department of Physical Planning and what it does, let me just say this. So you see, we have in our local government system, we have the General Assembly, town and area councils, we have the unit committees. The town and area councils are the managers of the decentralization process. Then you have the unit committees being the implementers of it. The whole idea of having unit committee members is that because it is anticipated that the assembly members who represent an electoral area cannot be at every place at the same time. So you have unit committee members who are living in the community. They see a lot of these things. They would get it to the town and area councils and ensure that they are dealt with. Now, watch this carefully. It says that, so the Department of Physical Planning at the district level shall manage the activities of the Department of Town and Country Planning and the Department of Parks and Gardens. So that's like combining those two old departments. The department shall advise the district assembly on national policies on physical planning, land use, and development. Coordinate activities and projects of departments and other agencies, including non-governmental and governmental. Assist in the preparation of planning, physical plans as a guide for the formulation of development policies and decisions, and to design projects in the district. If you go down, it will tell you that they are actually supposed to, help in issuing of building plans and what have you. What point am I making? The point I'm making simply is this. Some of our callers talked about attitudinal problem. Yes. The reason why we enact laws is that we know that we have attitudinal problem. So we put people in place to ensure that the right things are done. The problem that we are faced with is multifaceted. I mean, you're looking at challenges of poor drainage systems. Sometimes we're not constructing the best drainage systems. Sometimes also our attitudes in dumping waste in the drainage system is a problem. Sometimes also the construction of buildings on waterways, building anyhow, is also the problem. How do we solve these things? We solve these things by ensuring that we go according to the laws that we've put in place. Whose responsibility is it? Somebody's responsibility is the fact that there's a director, there's a head of the physical planning department, there's a district chief executive, there's a minister in charge. You see, I like Nana Cranton's point, because all of us are leaders in our own right. And so right from the grassroots, right from the lowest level, we must ensure the right things are done. But if we fail, that the buck must stop somewhere.
So, you probably don't know this, but this is actually what I'm trained in, my profession. I'm as an estate developer. Yes. We plan communities. We plan the construction of communities. There are certain things that just could never, in the physical world we occupy, could never happen in other parts of the world, but they happen here. So we're talking about building on waterways, and we've identified that as one of the biggest reasons why cities flood after 30 minutes of rain, right? Okay. That could never happen. Even if a person wants to build on a waterway in England, it can't happen. Let me explain why. Because everything is digitized. So when you come and you want to register your land to build, there is a system, there is a map. You must put in your coordinates. You must find your strip of land on the system, click on it, and then register your details. That's how it works. So for example, if you come and you give some coordinates that show that you are buying land maybe 1 mile into the sea, when you click on the sea on the map, it will not allow you to register the sea as your land, right? The same for waterways. Somebody has already sat and thought and planned and determined that this is where water will flow when it rains. That's why we know where our waterways are. In Accra, we know. It's not a mystery. It's not like we don't yet know our waterway. We know. But if somebody comes to register land on a waterway, when you click on the thing, it won't allow you to register it. It is physically impossible.
Yeah.
So whoever you bought the land from, you can't register, you can't build on it. Is the problem more complicated than that? Is the solution more difficult than that?
Not at all, Kojo.
All right.
And the funny thing before you continue is that I'm just looking at Ghana's land use. There's zoning guidelines and planning standards. Something that was passed in 2011. In this, you're told, the country is zoned into rural A, B, urban A, B, and all of those things. And it will tell you how you can even build, the sort of buildings you are allowed to put up in certain areas. The question you ask yourselves is, how come?
How do we do something other than what is in the law?
What sort of blood runs through our system that for us, everything that we seek to do, we're just unable to do it?
I wish I knew. I really wish I knew. It's not a difficult concept, These leaders that we want to hold to account, they come from amongst us. They are us. Whoever we are, that's who our leaders are. So if we're sitting back and thinking our leaders are unable to solve the problem, our leaders are not taking responsibility, our leaders are not taking the bull by the horns, our leaders know the right thing but they are not doing it, that's because we know the right thing but we're not doing it. It bothers me. The things I saw yesterday in Odona bothered me. When I saw that father who was concerned for his children, he had gone to buy a sack of food just to come and feed them because all of their utensils and all of the food items that they had stored in their kitchen had been washed away in the flood. When I saw that man's face, when I thought of the unexpected expenditure that he now has to incur, even though he is probably out of work, because when I was talking to him, he was saying that work is hard to come by. So when I think about these things, it bothers me, but then I also realize that we are doing this to ourselves. We are doing this to ourselves. It's not just the guy who is registering the land on a waterway, but it is the one who bought the land on the waterway. It is the one who sold the land on the waterway. It is the one who built the land, the house on the waterway. It is the one who came to live in it, knowing that this is on a waterway. It's us. It's us.
Exactly.
Please, as for me, I wish I could say this in every language of Ghana.
Say them.
Okay, help me.
No, say them. No, I want you to see. You are in Ghana. Mm-hmm. You have been here for too long, Kujo. Every day you are looking for support somewhere.
US and Unupas.
Look at the look on. Just look at Sami's face, and it tells you.
Take him land seriously.
Okay. You know, I like how Sami actually was astonished when he started the Ofan. But let me try to say something in Ever. I'll try. I'll make it very brief.
All right.
The fact that this man says a very important thing. That's Ankalato.
Yeah, in the song.
And you know, adult education in those days on GBC, it never says Minamia Wewanyu. Minamia Wewanyu. Netuko Anyon, and ye pliwe awe. And ye hilefi, and we heal our femen. Miafenu wana nabedi. Tuko aiji aluma iju. Tanu trebedi biaro kubedi and kihi wow lefien. And you now alo menu. No now cherry. Biabedi a nyuna dukoa. Nema nyuna dukoin. Medefuku. Mega well. Agbieke nomilen. Yanabe. Nilefukpele dukime.
Ganyu.
Ganyu means money is good. Ganyu means money is good.
I see.
So I receive it.
It was somebody's name in Showcase in Ever.
Showcase in Ever.
I just remembered. All right. That's wonderful. But thank you for that. I think it will sink.
It will.
So look, we all have to play our part, and our part here on the Super Morning Show is to bring you the information. And once you have the information, what do you do with it? What do you do with it? Who do you hold to account? Which action do you call for? Which action do you take on your own to bring about solutions? Well, we're going to have another conversation which is crucial to our national development. It costs us a lot of money when things go bad at our ports. A lot of money. You have no idea how much we lose when there's a system failure at our ports. Well, Unipass took over not so long ago, and there are suggestions that things are not going well. Those who use the facilities of the port are saying that enkoye. But is it Unipass's fault? Is the solution to come from Unipass or from elsewhere? Is the state properly supervising what is happening there? Are the users of the system properly utilizing it and doing the right things to make it work? So if they're not working, and if problems are rearing their heads and people are ending up paying a fortune in demurrage. Whose fault is it? And who should pay that demurrage? I think that's an important national conversation to have. Let's have it after these.
Mommy, I'm hungry.
Oh, Hema, today is Mommy's day off, so you can order anything you want.
Anything I want?
Anything. You can call me Dada Cash today.
Yay, pizza, pizza.
You crazy, making promises. Do you even have enough cash on you?
Honey, just watch and learn. Hello? I'd like to place an order for 2 large pizzas and 2 large drinks.
Sure, sir. You can pay cash on delivery.
Oh, forget the cash. I'll be paying with CowPay. It's quicker and faster.
Pay for anything online and take control of all your payment transactions with CowPay on the CowBank app. Visit the Play Store or the App Store and download the CowBank app to make bank and mobile transfers. Request a checkbook, stop a check, and also have access to the CowPay payment platform. CowBank app. Forget the cash.
What does extra mean to you?
Extra means Cow data.
More minutes to talk to my loved ones.
Data that doesn't expire.
More talk time at the best rate. You want extra? Airtel Tigo is giving you extra. Extra data on Big Time Extra. That doesn't expire. Extra minutes on Fuse Extra. That doesn't expire. And extra unlimited calls. It's time for extra. Even our bonus data doesn't expire. You need to simply dial *111# to activate now.
Airtel Tigo. Life is simple.
Check out the new Melcom shop open at Ablekuma, Abanjena Bridge, Olebu, off Ablekuma Pokwasi Road, near Finance Filling Station. It is fully air conditioned and has large parking space. It's now in your neighborhood with over 20,000 items under one roof, ranging from electronics, homeware, kitchenware, furniture, home decor, electrical, supermarkets, and groceries. Your shopping experience just got better. Shop opens on Monday to Saturday, 10 a.m.